Hello, everyone. This is Chris Vogt. Very excited to be here today. We've got our president of the Realtors Commercial Alliance, Helen Jiang. She's staring at her camera there. So we're going to have a lot of fun today because we're talking about the summer of AI. AI is taking over the world, and we're here to help you weaponize AI against itself. And I've got some fun stuff that we prepared for this today. So I think that this is going to be really cool. And Helen, you actually went to an AI training of some sorts at lunchtime today, right? I mean, I haven't talked to you since you went. So how did that go?
It was interesting. It made me more open to AI.
Yeah.
I guess the analogy was like an accountant, everybody uses QuickBooks now. So kind of
Yeah.
like everybody's going to have to use AI. It's just a tool, nothing to be scared of. So
Well,
that was
people
my
thought the
takeaway.
computers were going to take over the world at one point too, right?
Yes, so I was refusing to embrace AI, but today I'm more open.
So you're not yet at the point where you're willing, but you are
Yes, but I'm
open.
open.
Okay. All right. Do you use Google search?
Yes.
Okay. Did you know that Google search is just AI?
Yes, in the old days, right?
No, even now. Now it's even more AI.
Right? That's why, yeah,
That's why you're more open to it because the tool that you love has turned to the dark side.
yeah, something like that.
Oh, that's hilarious. Excellent. All right. So today is part two of the Summer of AI, and we are talking about three AI tactics to implement today, not tomorrow, today. And even Helen may be able to be part of this, right? We're looking forward to that. All right. Last month, we did part one of the series, which was five AI actions to take today. And today we're heading into part two, three AI actions to implement today. And coming up in August, I think it's the 19th, we've got part three. And part three is the art of seducing AI, romancing AI to recommend you. Now, does that thrill you, Helen?
Interesting.
Yeah, interesting. So we're going to talk about how you can seduce AI and romance it so it loves you and wants to recommend you. All right. So we're going to review. We're talking about the tactics, and this is our roadmap. And then we're going to talk about what's next. And what's next before we get going is the Realtors Commercial Alliance of California is the sponsor of this broadcast today. And the mission statement of the Commercial Association of Realtors of California is to empower our members to thrive in commercial real estate through education, networking, and fostering collaboration among commercial residential real estate professionals and business brokers. That's a mouthful. I think we should probably stick AI on this and have AI come up with a way of saying this so it's better. What do you think, Helen?
Sounds good.
Although I did use AI to craft this mission statement. So
Hmm.
we'll see if AI has improved in the last 18 months since we crafted that. So there are benefits of being part of the association, and that is we have monthly commercial real estate education and training. Like today, we're focusing on commercial real estate as we're doing the training on AI. We also have commercial real estate project pitch and pro networking Zooms, but we've put those on hold for the summer due to popular demand because people wanted to learn about AI. And coming up this fall, we've got one or two social events planned for you, and members also have a hotline that they can use. Helen, did you see the last broadcast we did? What was it, 2 weeks ago or last week? On the trust crisis in commercial real estate, deal or deep fake with Eric O'Neill, the former FBI spy hunter. Did you see that?
I actually have not had a chance to go back.
I'm sad.
Shame
You're
on
going to have
me.
to do it. And when you go look at this, watch this video, be sure to like it and comment whenever possible. Say What did you take away from the video? What was most interesting to you? That's what we'd like to hear. Put it in the comments. So we've got some coming events here. And so today, the July 15th, is our Summer of AI Part 2. And yesterday morning, I recorded about an hour-long interview with Dr. Lawrence Yun, the NAR chief economist, and we had a very wide-ranging conversation all about commercial real estate and the economy, what's happening, what impact interest rates are having. Kevin Warsh, I mentioned Ben Bernanke by accident instead of Jerome Powell. You know, that's what happens when you get nervous, right? And we talked about a lot of different things related to commercial real estate. So this is going to, I'm planning to post that hopefully on Monday. So be looking for that Monday. And we'll send an announcement out to everyone who's on the email list at rcaoc.org. If you are not part of the email list, please go there, fill out there. We only ask for like your name, your blood type. No, we don't ask for your blood type, your name, your phone number, your email address, and your zip code. So we know approximately where you're at in this world. And then, as we mentioned, coming up, part 3 of the Summer of AI is coming on August 19th, The Art of Seducing AI, Romancing AI to Recommend You. And where do you think I came up with that title, Helen?
AI?
Boy, aren't you just keyed in today? So the RCAOC sponsor is deferredtax.com. So if you've got tax questions or you're looking for someone to give you some advice on taxes, go to deferredtax.com and check them out. All right. So last month, just to recoup where we came from, we talked about that if you want to take action and you need to take action to get going. And Helen, since you went to lunch today and went to this other meeting and you're almost convinced that you should use AI, these are things for you. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm putting you on the spot here as the president of the association. I think it's your incumbent duty to take the advice of the training that we offer. So
Right?
use AI daily, even if it just means going to your Google and typing in a few things and using the AI feature of search instead of, the real AI tools. Okay. But at least it's a start. Number 2, Helen, have you ever spoken with AI? Do you talk to AI?
No.
No. Okay. So this is something that I really think you should try. Talk to AI. I only started talking to AI about meaning where before that I would record things and then let AI listen to, what I was recording. But actually doing live interactive speaking with AI, it can get pretty trippy sometimes. And there's most of the tools now I think have a live feature. Ask AI open-ended questions. So I find that AI it it's kind of off the rocker sometimes. It's like I'll ask it questions and I'll ask it really open-ended questions, and it comes up with some really unexpected results, things that I never would have guessed. And that's why I say to ask open-ended questions, because when you get unexpected results from AI, then you can see things that maybe you hadn't thought of before and open your mind to some new ideas. In fact, the way that I came up with that title is I had come up with an idea for what I wanted to call the next section of the series, part 3. And I put it into AI and it said, oh, that's a great idea. And then it gave me a bunch of ideas on what to do. And knowing that AI is somewhat of a sycophant, it's your friend and it wants to saddle up to you and make you feel good. That's why it told me that that was great. And so then I said, hey, can you come up with some better ideas for titles? And so it came up with some better ideas. And then as I was reading through those ideas and the suggestions it was making for what to say related to those other ideas. Eventually, it was back and forth like 5 or 6 times. I came up with seducing AI and romancing AI to recommend you. All right, so that's the whole thing about refining questions. And there was 3 things we went over last month: the role, the goal, and the context. And you're going to have to go back and watch the video to learn how to define the role, the goal, and the context, and how that'll help you using AI better. And then the next thing is start to build context files. We're going to talk about context files today. So, in fact, that's the first thing that's on the list because people are like, what are these context files? How do we use them? How do we make them? And I'm actually going to go through and show you about context files. All right, Helen, does that excite you at all?
Sure.
You sound convinced. I tend to use Google Docs. Google Docs is my friend. It's free. I like it. I also have Microsoft, used to be called Office. What do they call it? Office nowadays? Microsoft 365, I think it is. And Microsoft Word. I mean, I started using Microsoft Word back in the, was it the 80s or was it the early 90s that Microsoft Word came out? But I've been using Microsoft Word since version 1, I believe it is. And I really liked Word. I've done a lot of stuff in it. I wrote 3 books using Word. I've written magazine articles that were published in Microsoft Word. When I build a context file, I do it in Microsoft Word. And I have got, where is it? Up there it is. This is actually an abbreviated AI master context file that I put together for myself. This has got a lot of personal things in it about me. It really helps you figuring out what to do. And one of the things that I learned and have not been able to go back and review is that AI, it deletes stuff out of your files when you're not looking. I kept telling it, add to the file, add to the file. And I went back, and as it was adding, it was actually deleting stuff that it thought was no longer necessary, but I thought was very necessary. Let's just go through a couple of things here so you can see. So, for example, my legal name, Christopher Evote, for formal real estate and association business, when I'm doing marketing, public digital signatures. I also like to use commercial Chris vote on some things. So it talks about when to use commercial Chris. And when it's not doing real estate related stuff, we default to the informal of just Chris vote. That's kind of important so that it knows what to call you, when to call you that. And one of the things that I really don't like, that is strictly forbidden to use my middle initial with my nickname, Chris. And then we talk about because AI talks to you, when it's talking to you, and like a lot of times you'll have documents, and in your document, even though it's not going to say, hey, Chris Vogt, what's going on with you today? It'll say, hey, Chris, what you up to, buddy? But when it's reading things and your name is in there, it'll read your name. And one thing that is irritating to people is to have their name mispronounced, right? I've got in here phonetic calibration for the voice engines that the last name Vote is pronounced exactly as Vote, VOTE, with a silent G and a long O. And so, how did I come up with this context file? I came up with this over a matter of weeks. As I'm working with AI and using AI, then we keep adding to this as new things come up. All right. And why do we have a master context file? The reason we have a master context file is because there are like 4 major AI tools. We've got Claude, we've got ChatGPT, we have Grok, we have Gemini, and then of course there's a lot of people that use Perplexity, and so there's really 5. And a week ago, people had ruled out Grok, but Grok is back. Who'd have thunk it? Elon Musk, being the owner of Grok, he, had it had had some development struggles, and he put it aside for a little bit while he was doing his SpaceX IPO. But now that the IPO is done, the SpaceX AI team have released a new version of Grok, and surprisingly, it's pretty good. But I had stopped using Grok, but as I moved back, you know, it's this race between the AI tools. And this week, this one's better. And next week, the other one's better. And then the following week, there's a third one that's better. But they're all kind of jockeying for position. And they all tend to come up with, the same things just at different rates. And they keep leapfrogging each other. So remember the game of leapfrog when we were kids? So that's kind of what they're doing. For most people, I think that the thing that you should be doing is choose one tool. All right. The tool that I've been using recently is Gemini, because Google, I do not think is going to end up losing the AI race massively. It may not be, the top dog, for a while. But think about this. When Gmail came out, all of us were using um, Online America, AOL, or we were using Yahoo, or I don't even remember what the other AI tools were. I mean, the email tools, but we were using a different email provider. And I think now almost everyone has a Gmail account. And when you get a Gmail account, you also get Google Docs and you get Sheets and all the other Google tools. And kind of slowly and under the radar, Google has become like a hugely dominant player. And I think there's probably more people that use the Google apps for documents and spreadsheets and stuff than actually use the Microsoft ones, which were the dominant player in the system for a long, long time. Helen, are you a Google Docs or Google Sheets user? Helen has turned her mic off. All right, so there's a
I
lot of
try.
stuff in here. You try? All
Yes.
right. Are you also a Microsoft user?
No.
Have you ever been a Microsoft user?
Yes, until they started charging me for 365. Then I said, no, thank you. I'll just use my Gmail stuff.
There you go. So, do you think the same thing might happen with Google and their AI tools?
Yep. If they charge me, I'm not going to use it.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about charging. We talked about that a little bit last time. So, go back and listen to part one to hear some thoughts on whether or not you should pay for an AI tool or not. And it has to do with privacy and hint.
Yeah, I heard that today that I should pay for it. But I
Yeah.
don't use AI, remember? I'm barely being convinced.
Yeah, you're using it. You just don't realize you're using it.
Yeah.
All right. So some of the other things I have in my context file are things like my licenses. So I've got my broker's license in Tennessee, my salesperson's license in California with my license number. I've got what my leadership roles are for professionally, both as a real estate commercial real estate broker and as a member of the association here. I've got some of my background information, being a certified financial planner, how I was an estate planner and a stockbroker, tax practitioner, doing a hostile takeover in the Silicon Valley, and where I went to college, and my background in media and communications, and a little bit of information about my family. So, and I included my kids' nicknames in there because sometimes when I'm talking to AI, I'll use the kids' nicknames because A and I are on a familiar basis here. Then we've got information on when AI creates images of me and what I want to look like. And so I've got my description in there. Also, like my hair and how's my hair and how do I do the fuzz on my face? What eye color do I have? And I had to put the eye color in there, even though it was looking at pictures of me and manipulating them. It changed my eye color from brown to blue. So I had to tell it that my eye color, was brown and make sure you stick with brown. I talk about my wardrobe, what I want, how do I want to be dressed, what kind of ties and what color the ties should be. And I don't know if you see this, but I actually have so these are my personal branding colors that are built in here, and that's the next section. So like got a pure royal blue, and it's got the hex code in there. And then Tennessee orange. I also like using Tennessee orange. So I got the hex code for that in there. My primary band colors and also some accent colors. And one of the things that it removed, I had like three or four more accent colors in there before, and they took it out. But because I do a lot of stuff with the Realtors Commercial Alliance, I've also got information for the Realtors Commercial Alliance branding in here. Specific rules for the word realtor is a trademark. And so when it's using the trademark, it needs to use it in all caps letters so it's consistent with the trademark, and whether when it's got the S on the end or not. And then we've got the way that we like to have the acronym for the Realtors Commercial Alliance of California, with the lowercase o and everything else being uppercase. And then I was using that, it got that down, and then it did something where it was doing something weird with the apostrophe S. And so I had to add another rule for what to do when it's possessive. We've got different names that we go by with the Realtors Commercial Alliance, because we have the name that we use for marketing purposes. We've got our corporate identity, which matches what the state of California has on file. And then we also have the identity that NAR has given us, which is the Realtors Commercial Alliance of Orange County. So that's our official name as an association that we use whenever we're doing official association business. And then I've got things on technology and how to format file names, because a lot of times I have AI create files for me, and the my personal naming convention for how I do files is I like to have all my files with the version number up at the front. And the version number is the year, the month, the day. And if there's multiple versions in a single day, then I move to alpha characters, so A, B, C, D. And so it has the way of doing that. A lot of times when you're working with AI, you're saying, okay, create a version for this to me, and then just it's like Peter Falk playing the character Columbo on TV. It's like he's talking, and then he's like, well, he thinks he's done, or at least the person he's interrogating thinks he's done. He starts walking away, he turns around and says, "Oh, by the way." And I find that happens to me all the time where I'm working with AI. I I've got something, I think I'm done, and just when I'm walking away from it, I'm like, oh, there's another thing I have to do. And so I go back and I make more changes. And if there's a consistency and I ask it to save the files again, I have it use the same file. I don't update the variant number. So I don't move from A to B to C. So this is an idea of how context files work. And why do you want a context file? Again, it's so you have consistency of results when you're using your AI tools. You don't want randomness built into your structure a lot of times. And so the things that you want to be structured, then you keep those structured. All right. So does that all make sense to you, Helen?
Yeah,
Okay,
does.
good. Glad to hear it. All right. So when I'm building the file, I'm using Google Docs usually, and I save Google Docs in the docx format so that they're portable. But when AI is building the document, it will take the last instance that it built. And a lot of times I will have to go in and I'll have to update it and edit it. And I have to compare to make sure it didn't take stuff out. So I have to add a new rule now that I know this, that it's been taking stuff out, not to remove or change things in the file without my permission. So this is a work in process. AI works on something called tokens. Do you know what a token is, Helen?
No.
when you look at a a sentence is made up of words and spaces and punctuation. Some words are longer than others, and the computer keeps track of those, or AI tools specifically, as tokens. So there's so many tokens in different words and letters. The more tokens you use, the greater the charges that AI has, because it's basically metering, like when you go to the gas station, you're putting gas into your tank, it's keeping track of how many gallons you're using, and AI is keeping track of how many characters and bits and bytes you're using, because characters break down to bits and bytes. When you build something in a document format, you have a lot of formatting in there. So a document file has got a lot more clutter on a digital layer. A markdown file is basically a text file. And they call it markdown because they take out all of the formatting and it's just basically down to text. That is a lot more efficient for artificial intelligence and computers to use. And especially when you get larger files, you want your markdown files and the instructions that you're giving AI to be more efficient for it to use, so that every time it's reading the instructions, it's using tokens. It can do it faster, number one. And number two, it's less for it to digest. And since it's less for it to digest, it costs less money to bring it in. Now, Helen and a lot of us have free accounts. And so we don't think about the cost. But a lot of times, if you start using AI and you use it a lot, you'll get errors saying that, sorry, I can't do that any longer. And the reason you can't do it any longer, a lot of times, is because you've exhausted the number of free tokens that you have available to you. Another one of the instructions that I give AI in my markdown file is don't generate new files, especially images, unless I specifically ask you to. And the reason I do that is because every time it generates an image, and images use lots of tokens, and soon we're all going to be generating video, you don't want to run out of your tokens as fast. So that's why we use markdown files. You want to compare your prior versions of your markdown files with your existing versions, because AI changes stuff. It's just one of the things it does. All right, so the next thing is getting AI to perform. And I love it, but I hate it. So I've got this love-hate relationship with AI, because sometimes AI does exactly what I want it to do, and it's amazing. And other times I can't get AI to do what I want it to do, no matter what. I mean, for the life of me, I just can't get it to work. So it kind of reminds me of a petulant 18-year-old who's doing intern work. It's like sometimes they do great, and other times it's like, that kid needs to get a life. Here is an example of something that I did. Is I was working on the slide deck for today, and I thought, I need to add to the slide deck and about the presenter page. So I said here in Google Slides, because there's the AI tool built right into the top right corner. There's I don't know if you can see my cursor on the screen there circling the diamond, but that little diamond is the Google Gemini icon. And you click that, and it pops up with a little pop up thing on the sidebar. And so I said, I need to create an About Me slide as the presenter. Can you help? Thought about it for about 15 seconds and said, oh, your slide is ready. And it popped it into my presentation. And so here is the slide that it created, and it used the information that it had about me to say that, oh, that Christopher Vogt, or Chris Vogt down here, Commercial Chris, is the managing director of the Vogt Real Estate Group with eXp Realty, bringing over 50 years of hands-on commercial real estate experience to the table. I'm the RCAOC. See, it got this wrong. I'm the president-elect, and I'm the CEO. I was the past president, and I've got a multidisciplinary background, proven leadership history spanning corporate management as a retired Silicon Valley C-suite executive. I've been a certified financial planner and asset protection advisor. So that's what it came up with. It had my email address. It had my cell phone number, and it knows that I tell people to text me 24/7 all the time. And it also has my YouTube handle. But it didn't have a photo in the regular Google Gemini. And so, which is interesting that it didn't do that. And so it put together, a good place for me to start putting together my about me as a presenter slide. Here's another thing. I do a lot of creating thumbnails for YouTube. I put together a conversation when I was working on putting together some images. I started out this here in the blue is me and what I've been typing, and then the white is the AI tool. And this was actually a conversation I had with Canva. Canva, if you haven't been using it, it's a graphics program, and you can use it for putting together graphics, editing them. It does some video stuff. I am not a graphics designer type person. And so one of the things that AI is allowing me to do, it's allowing me to be kind of a reasonable facsimile of a graphic artist, which, I can't even really draw stick figures very well. So, this is a nice change. So I asked it if I could, because I've been using the Canva tool much. I'm just trying to get the hang of it. I said, can I upload reference images just and describe what I like about them, and then you can create new images based on what I tell you. And so it's like, sure, that's a great approach, and it went on to talk about that. And so what I did is I also told it, I don't know if you can see this up here. Great. Please do not generate a new image until I let you know I'm ready. Please ask me questions to support your process. And the reason I'm showing this is so that if you don't use AI the way I do, hopefully there's some things in here that will make sense to you. You can gain from and improve your processes too. Because using AI is about good communication. And the better you can communicate, the better results you're going to get when you're using AI. And so I put in the thumbnail from last month, 5 AI actions to take today, and along with the picture and the little Robbie the robot that we built last month. Then it asked clarifying questions about Robbie and about the picture. I uploaded a draft that Gemini put together for part 2. It asked me some questions about that. And oh, and I also told it in that last slide that I couldn't get Gemini to combine the best parts of 2 different images that I was using, the first image and the second image, because I really wanted something different. And no matter what I was doing, I just couldn't get Google Gemini to do it. It was like, it's giving me positive feedback. It's giving me all kinds of stuff. We can do this. Yay, go team. And then I gave it a little snippet of what I was looking for that I thought was really cool. And so it saw that, and then it's talked to me about clarifications for building outline because I wanted some buildings to give a flair of commercial real estate as part of the thumbnail. And then I told it that Gemini, when Gemini generates an image, it puts a watermark on it. Just like you see the watermark for Zoom on the bottom right corner of these slides, because Zoom is putting a watermark over my slides as we're going because we're doing this recording in Zoom. There's this little diamond shaped watermark right underneath the A, and I wanted to remove it. So it's like, okay, great, we can do that. And so it came up and it did something different, gave me some ideas because I asked it for concept images and it came up with these concepts. And I was like, ooh, that's really cool. But hey, that looks like a poser. That does not look like me. That is someone different. And the other thing it did is it knew that I'm with EXP. So it put the little EXP logo on Robbie's chest. And I didn't want to do that because we're doing a presentation that is meant for everyone. It's not just meant for EXP agents. And so I asked it to move Robbie's name in the Tennessee orange in place of the EXP on the chest of the robot. As you can see, I went through and then I gave it sample images, reference images of myself to replace the poser. Three of these images are me, and one image is an image that Google put together of how it saw me based on other images that I put together. And that's one of the things that you can use AI tools for, is you can give it some example images of yourself and say, create a nice headshot of me. So I used it to create a headshot of me. And then it came back and it put together some new stuff. And you can see these down here at the bottom. That person does not look anything like me. And Robbie like transmuted into a totally different character. So it was like something went really wrong. And I don't know if this happens to you when you're using AI, but it happens to me all the time is AI hallucinates and it drifts. And one of the big things that I think is really important is that you do not create what I like to call, what a lot of people call is internet AI slop. Because people, and I really think this is true. I was like, so many people want to sugarcoat it, say AI is amazing, which it is, and it does everything right, which it doesn't. You got to keep your thumb on it. You got to keep really tight control, and it will tell you it does stuff when it's doing something totally different, and it doesn't realize it until you tell it that it has done something that it's not supposed to be doing. It told me, hey, we're keeping the blue. We're removing the XP logo. We're keeping the Robbie logo in Tennessee orange. We're replacing the person with my likeness instead of someone else. We're keeping the same poses as the concept image because I like the concept images, but I wanted to see them with me in it instead of someone else. And we're going to keep the Navy sports coat. And you look at the images it generated, it's not me. Robbie is not Robbie. The background and everything about these was totally different and totally screwed up. So we had to regroup, and um, it was just sad. And so my response was the current crop of images are not anything like the first group. They're supposed to be identical, just replacing me and fixing the Robbie thing. I consider this a massive drift from where we were before. What went wrong and how should I help you get back on course? I think this is really important is when you identify something that's not working the way you think it should, tell AI, hey, this isn't working. Here's what I'm seeing and how do I help you get back on course? It's really important to have that conversation with AI and its result, it came back and said, you're absolutely right. I apologize for the massive drift. Let me identify what went wrong. What I lost from the other concepts, okay? And it went through and it listed 7 things that went wrong. Okay. And then what happened? When I use your reference photos with the style reference strategy, I pulled too much from the photographic style of your headshots rather than maintaining the bold graphic thumbnail layout from the 4 concepts. How to get back on course? I need to regenerate using the original concept layout, but with better facial accuracy. You can help me. Which of the first 4, the ones with the poser, had the best overall composition? Should I literally just replace the person's face and appearance with yours while keeping everything else identical? We're having a conversation about how to go about doing this, right? I said, let's go back to the first 4 images. Simply replace me with the poser in all 4. Perfect. It says it's regenerating. And what does it do? It goes back and it gave me the image from last month, one of the reference images, instead of giving me the new image. All right. And then it says, oh, and it's doing this and it's realizing it made a mistake. So it continues going and it generates the new one. And you can see that isn't too bad, actually. It's a good image. It definitely looks like me, but Robbie is totally changed. And it's done some weird things with the fonts here. I mean, I didn't like the way it did the 3 AI tactics with tactics being kind of squished by the 3 AI. But I like the background with the light outlines of the commercial buildings. So, I mean, if we were just interested in getting something done and out the door, we could have used this one, and a lot of people they would have considered it just fine, right? I think so. All right. So anyhow, we're running out of time here because we try to keep these to 45 minutes. So these are here. I'm going to slowly click through them. If you're watching on the replay, you can see what happened. You can pause your screen and read what happened. So again, it tried replacing me, and nice looking guy there, but it's not me. And it did do go back and put the right Robbie, the friendly robot, back in there. Um, but it had Robbie down below again. And so, we just went go through and we're just working together to try to fix things. And I actually probably went too fast so that if you're going through and wanting to read this, so you can pause, we'll do that. And there you can pause. So again, it came up with a pretty decent looking thing, but it wasn't what I was asking it to do because I really liked what it had done before. And then it comes back and it goes right back to the prior character again. So AI can be really, really frustrating at times. Okay. All right, Helen, are you encouraged to use AI after seeing this example?
Um, it's interesting. I like all those images changing.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
but it knows what you're requesting if you're persistent.
right. And so the thing is to learn to use it. And I let it go too far. And a lot of this is learning how to interact with AI so that you get the best results. And number one, don't give it too many things to do at once. All right. Probably like yeah, Helen has got like 73 kids or something like that. I always give her a hard time. What do you have? Six kids? Is that right?
Six.
Six. Okay. All right. So she only has six children. They're all hers. I bet you she could tell you some great stories about the kids growing up and her being really frustrated because she's like, the kid is old enough. I can tell it three things to do. I can leave. I can go come back and the things will be done. And she goes away. And yeah, they did the first thing on the list and they didn't do anything else because they couldn't remember that there were three things. That has never happened to you, right, Helen? Your kids are perfect
Right. In my dreams.
in your dreams. Yeah. Okay. You can go through and you can pause if you want to read through what actually happened. So that brings us to the third tactic is what's next. And so this is what I'm going to be working on this month because I didn't have time to do it building up to today. But before next time, my goal is to build a capture page. And the capture page is I build these things all the time manually. And I build a form and to put it on the website. In fact, if you go right now, if you're watching this, if you're not on our email blast, go to rcaoc.org right there on the bottom of the screen. Scroll down about halfway down the page, and you're going to see a form. And the form says, put in your first name, your last name, your telephone number, your email address, your zip code. Click the dot saying that we can email you, the authorization check marks, and send it, click submit, and you're going to get back a welcome email like within, like 3 seconds or something like that. It's almost instantaneous that you'll get an email. And that's as a form that I built, but I didn't use AI to do it. So the next thing that I really want to do is I've got a listing that I'm building a website for. It's a single property website for my listing and so I'm going to have AI build the website and I'm going to put a capture page there with it. The next thing I want to do is I'm going to build my own standalone commercialchris.com branded website. I want to see how good of a job AI will do with that. So those are the things that I have on my docket to do in the next 30 days. That is pretty much it for today. So thank you very much for joining us. We greatly appreciate your interest. Please click the like button down below. If you would take a moment to comment on something that you found valuable in today's presentation, we would greatly appreciate it. If you're not a subscriber to the channel, please subscribe so that you get notifications from YouTube whenever we have new content out. Look on the channel for Dr. Lawrence Yoon and our conversation for the mid-year 2026 economic update and what's going on, what is being forecasted in this, an election year with a brand new Fed chairman. This is good stuff. It was a very interesting conversation. I wish I could have had him for 2 hours instead of an hour to ask him questions. We will see you at our next event. And please, if you haven't done so already, go back, fill out that form so that you get the emails and know what's coming up with the Realtors Commercial Alliance of California.